Hey everyone, this is Riddle Hugger Age Raven. I'm here with my recommended review of Barry, season number 3, episode number 2, which is titled Limonada. And yeah, this was a very, very disturbing episode, especially because of how Barry acted in this episode. He got angry at Sally. He has this weird plan that he wants to go through with in order to help Jean, and it was just disturbing. It's very, very disturbing, and it season number 3 of Barry is off to a very, very strong start, and I hope that we actually get season 4 greenlit. I think it was greenlit, maybe. Yeah, the scripts, as far as I know, the script has been written. They're just waiting on production. So the episode basically opens up with Barry at this fast food joint, and we see him ordering these burgers and sandwiches. And as he walks towards the parking lot, we have this scene where we actually see Jean. He's still in the trunk. Yeah, it's a dark comedy show. So Jean is still in the trunk, and we actually see other people going about their lives, and no one notices Barry having this old man in his trunk. He has kidnapped Jean, and yeah, Jean tries to plead to Barry. He's like, Barry, I appreciate you giving me food to eat and also giving me the change, but can I eat the sandwich and then we'll go? I can't just eat the sandwich while I'm inside the trunk. But Barry is like, no, we can't waste any more time, Mr. Kuzno. And he ends up locking Jean back in the trunk, and he drives the car off. And I'm like, oh, poor Jean. I just had a feeling that Jean was going to do something in order to run away from Barry, and he does it. He does it at near the end of the episode, but it doesn't necessarily work out the way he had planned. So we cut to Sally, and she's going over the scripts for her TV show, and she tells her assistant that, you know what, I want the script changed because these arguments that these two lead characters are having, it feels very scripted. It doesn't feel real because real people don't necessarily have such arguments. And yeah, the assistant is like, well, it works for the show that we're trying to create. And then Sally is like, you know what, you do have a point, so why don't we just add more in it? And the assistant is like, yeah, that's brilliant. And the younger actress that Sally is working with, she's very impressed with how Sally has been handling the entire production. And yeah, the younger actress is like, how do you do all of this? And also, I'm working on something myself. It's a project that I'm working on. But before these two can continue their conversation, Barry walks in, and Sally's like, Barry, why are you here? Did I ask you to come here? And Barry's like, no. I just came by myself because I have a favor to ask of you. You know Jean, right? Of course, Sally's like, yeah, I know him. And yeah, Barry's like, well, he's feeling down, but I know how to help him. And you are the person who can help me accomplish what I want to do. So what I want you to do, Sally, is that I want you to give Jean a role in your show. And yes, this is where Sally is like, Barry, I really tried. I asked the casting director to give Jean a role, but no one necessarily wants to work with Jean right now in Hollywood. And Barry's like, but how is that? You're the boss, right? You're the boss. And Sally's like, yes, I'm the boss of this production, but I ended up hiring other intelligent people around me, and that's why I do end up listening to their advice. So basically, Sally's like, I can't help Jean, even though I care for him. And Barry's like, no, you don't care for him. Because if you really cared for him, you would give him a role. And yeah, Sally tries to make Barry see sense, but Barry's lost it because Barry, in the previous episode, he was ready to shoot Mr. Kuzno, but then he came up with this plan that he can help Kuzno by giving him a role on Sally's show and get him back into acting, but that doesn't work. And of course, Barry loses it, and he ends up pinning Sally to the wall. He raises his voice. He's very, very angry, and yeah, this is where I'm like, Barry, what are you doing? He's basically creating a scene, and Barry's like, you know what? I'll figure out a way to help Jean, and he walks away. And of course, the other women that Sally's in, they're very, very disturbed by everything that just happened. And yeah, Sally is disturbed too. So we cut to Hank, and Hank's boyfriend ended up calling him, and yeah, Hank is like, oh, so you want to see me right now? So yeah, these two are meeting in secret, and Cristobal or Hank are meeting in secret. It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute, even though these are very, very dangerous men that we're talking about. So as Cristobal is talking to Hank, he ends up asking Hank to come over because he wants to meet him. And then we have the scene where we see Cristobal noticing these two little girls selling lemonade, limonada, the title of the episode. And as he's walking towards the street, you can feel that something is going to happen because that's how TV shows work. And after he asks Hank to come over because he wants to meet with him, and this is where these black cars stop around Cristobal, and dun dun dun, we get to meet Fernando. I think his name is Fernando. I could be wrong. So Fernando is basically Cristobal's father-in-law. He's also the head of the family, the head of the business, and Cristobal is like, what are you doing here? And Fernando's like, well, we tried to contact you, we tried to reach you, but we couldn't. But I'm here in order to basically fix all of the mess that our family is in. And yeah, I'm here, Cristobal. We are going to take back our business. We're going to take back our area and whatnot. And of course, that makes Cristobal very, very, very worried. He's very worried about Hank, and he's also very worried about not being able to live his authentic life as a queer man with Hank. So we cut to Barry, and Barry is still trying to think of a plan to help Jean, and he's like, you know what, plan A didn't work, we're going to plan B, and Jean is talking to Barry from inside the truck. But yeah, Barry is not letting him out. So Barry goes to his previous manager, and yeah, the agent is like, well, we tried to contact you, but you weren't picking up your calls, and you didn't come in to read for your role and whatnot. So where were you? Barry is like, yeah, I had trouble. Anyway, I have a favor to ask. Do you remember Jean? I would like you to give Jean, my acting coach, a role. And yeah, the woman is like, no, I can't do that. I remember working with Jean. He had very, very bad behavior and whatnot. So it turns out that Gene's behavior when he was an actor, he ended up burning a whole lot of bridges, and no one in Hollywood wants to work with him. And yeah, the manager is like, you know what, I can't offer Gene a role, but I do have a role for you. I think the show's name is The Law of Humanity or whatnot. And yeah, she's like, Barry, I need you to go for this audition, do a auditioning process and whatnot. Just go. And Barry's like, okay. So because to Cristobal, he's inside his house and he's looking at the henchmen that Fernando brought, and there's this weird homoerotic scene going on because yeah, Cristobal has been loving his life, living with Hank, and all of that is going to go away because Fernando is back. And this is where these two talk about how they need to continue with their family business. And yeah, Fernando also mentions Cristobal's wife and kids, and Fernando is like, the sooner that we deal with the mess in this location, the sooner you'll be able to go back to your wife and kids, which, I mean, Cristobal doesn't want to do that. So we cut to Sally, and it's time for rehearsals, and Sally sits down and she starts forgetting her lines, especially after what happened with Barry. She's still focused on what Barry did to her, and even though Barry ended up being a bit he raised his voice and he was very threatening and abuses towards Sally. Sally doesn't want her relationship to end with Barry, and she's like, rewrite these lines, and I need a break. And as she walks away for a break, the younger actress that's working with Sally, she ends up talking to Sally's assistant, and also I think she is the camera coordinator or something. But yeah, the young woman is like, you know what, I didn't like the fact that her boyfriend came in and he yelled and he did all of that, so shouldn't we report him to HR? And the woman in the back is like, well, he doesn't work for the production or the studio, so we can't necessarily complain to the HR. And also the young actress is like, well, can't we do nothing? And yeah, the woman is like, well, we can, but I do have some questions. She's like, did Barry hit Sally? No. Did he throw an object at Sally? No. Did he threaten Sally's life? No. And yeah, the woman is like, well, we can't do anything. Even though you want to do it, the system doesn't work like that. And Sally's assistant is like, yeah, I'm not going to involve myself in this because I like my job. So I think that through Barry, the narrative is basically showing us that a whole lot of bad behavior goes around such sets, but no one really knows how to complain about it in the proper way. Either because that's how the system exists, that the system can't help these people, or also because they don't want to risk losing their job. So a whole lot of people do remain silent. So Barry ends up Gene about a new role that he got, and he wants Gene to help him with the auditioning process. But yeah, Gene is like, Barry, please let me go. I swear on my dead girlfriend's wife that I won't run to the police. You have to let me go. And yeah, Barry's like, no, can't do, Mr. Guzno, I can't do that. And this is where Gene is like, well, Barry, it's me, it's Gene, who helped you, who not only made you a better actor. My bad. Gene is like, I'm the person who not only made you a better actor, but I'm the person who ended up making you a good person. And this is how you repay me. This is how you repay me, by wanting to kill me. And Barry is like, oh, Mr. Kuzno, I love you. And Gene is like, well, I appreciate that. But we do get some development of this particular interaction later on in the episode, because Barry just wants other people to love him the way he loves them, because first it was Fuchs who was this weird toxic parental figure in Barry's life, and now Barry has replaced Fuchs with Gene, but Gene isn't giving him the type of affection and love that Barry wants, even though he's trying to make everything right in his own way. So we cut to Fernando sending his men to the plant nursery where Hank and his minions work, and I was like, okay, so is everyone going to die inside except for Hank? But now it turns out that no one was at the facility because yeah, Hank got warned by Cristobal, and yeah, Cristobal is like, well, are you okay? It's done, glad you're out of here and whatnot. And yeah, it turns out that Hank ended up taking his crew to sightsee, and they were very excited to see the dinosaur up there. And yeah, Cristobal is like, when Hank, we have to talk. I need to see you. And if you guys look at their contact names, so Cristobal has Hank saved in his phone under the name Lorelei, and Hank has Cristobal saved in his phone under the name Luke. I think it's supposed to be a reference to something, maybe Gilmore Girls. I don't know. I'm not really sure. Let me know if you guys know. So as Sally wants to mend her relationship with Barry, and she wants to order some food. And as she's talking to the person to place her food order, this is where she gets a message that Sandy wants to meet her. I think the other woman's name is Sandy. I could be wrong, or it could be Susan. Who knows? So basically, it turns out that there's another show that's very, very similar to Sally's show in production, and yeah, the studio wants to get ahead of it, and that's why they're pushing the release date. So Sally's show needs to come earlier, like it needs to debut next week, and Sally's like, I don't have time for that. And Natalie is very, very excited about it, and yeah, Natalie and the studio are like, you know what, Sally, you have to do this. This is happening. Tomorrow you'll start the press conferences, and yeah, this needs to happen because we need to get ahead of the competition. And the competition is basically a new show called Pam, and I do remember this actress. She is on YouTube. She's also on TikTok, and she does these very, very entertaining segments depicting how different type of women are shown in different type of genres in Hollywood. It's fun. She's basically a comedian. Maybe she'll appear on this show. Who knows? Good for her if she does. So this is where Natalie and Sally or Susan are like, not Sally, my bad. Natalie and Susan are like, Sally, so we need to talk about your press training and whatnot. And Sally's like, you know what? I don't have time for this. I need to go and pick up spaghetti, because again, she's more focused on mending her relationship with Barry. And talking about Barry, we cut to his auditioning process, and it really works. Of course, he kicks it out of the park, and yeah, but this is where he's also like, well, I do have a favor to ask of you. Please give my acting coach a role on this show, even if that role is that of an extra. And yeah, the guys are like, well, we can't do that. It's Gene. No one wants to work with Gene. And this is where Barry ends up basically repeating what Gene was talking about with him. about how Gene ended up helping Barry become a better person, a better guy, and whatnot. And Barry ends up telling these two men about how much Gene has helped him improve his life, and he basically owes Gene. And yeah, it works. It really works. So we cut to Hank and Cristobal, and yeah, it's time for Cristobal to break up with Hank. He's like, you know what, Fernando is my father-in-law. He's ruthless. No one talks to him. He's going to do what he wants to do, and I can't put you in danger. So we're breaking up, Hank. I need to break up with you because I need you to stay safe. I need you to remain safe. And yeah, he drives away, and we have the scene where Hank is he's just speechless. He's just speechless. And I'm like, you know what? He's thinking of something. He's just not going to lose Cristobal so easily. So maybe he's going to try and reach out to Barry in order to help fight Fernando. Let's see where this leads. So at home, Sally has prepared this dinner for Barry. She even brought him a new Xbox controller. And yeah, this is where Barry calls her, and Barry is like, Sally, I got a part. I got cast in this new show, not a new show, my bad, a big show called The Laws of Humanity. And Sally is very excited about it. She's very happy about Barry getting such an opportunity. And this is also where Barry's like, well, you know what? I also ended up getting Mr. Kuzno a role. And Sally's like, oh, you really did it? And he's like, Yep. I ended up telling the casting directors about how important Gene is in my life, and they were like, okay, dude, we'll cast him. And yeah, before they hang up, this is where Sally's like, well, I was trying to call you. You weren't replying to my messages. You weren't picking up my calls. And Barry's like, well, I was busy. And she's like, oh, okay, so I'll see you home soon. And I love you. And I do apologize about today. And Barry doesn't answer. Barry doesn't even apologize to Sally. And I'm like, wow, Barry, wow. You could have at least apologized. But no, Barry is really focused on mending his relationship with Gene. And yeah, this relationship, Sally needs to walk away. But then again, if she walks away, maybe Barry will get angrier. Who knows? So as Barry is headed back to his car in order to tell Gene the good news, he opens up the truck, and yeah, Gene isn't there. Gene ran away. How he ended up managing it, I have no idea. So as Gene is running away and Barry is trying to find him while driving his car, Gene ends up entering this house where these two women are also breaking up. And it turns out that this woman has a whole lot of dogs, and they end up attacking Gene. And the other woman is like, well, I'm breaking up with you because you have a whole lot of dogs. But yeah, Gene manages to keep on running, and he ends up meeting this woman, and he's like, you know what, you have to help me. Please call me an Uber because there's this guy after me who ended up killing my girlfriend, and now he wants to cast me in a TV show and whatnot. And of course, the woman is like, oh, this man is crazy. But she's like, you know what? I did call you an Uber. It will be here for you in a moment. It's just around the corner. And yeah, she just rushes off, and Gene hears a car coming towards him, and yeah, it turns out that it's Barry's car, and Gene he yells and he tries to run away, but before Barry can get to Gene, another car comes in, and yeah, both of these two cars collide, and this gives Gene the moment to run away, and he ends up running to his house. And I'm like, Gene, you should be going to the police station. But no, Gene goes to his house, and he calls out to his son. He's like, call the police. And I'm like, Gene, back there. I was watching this show, and I was like, oh no, who's that? That's Barry, isn't it? And yeah, it turns out that Barry has already made his way to Gene's house. And Barry's like, oh, Mr. Kuzno, I heard you mention the police. And yeah, Gene is like, no police. And Barry asks Gene to come and sit next to him on the sofa. And this is where Barry makes things very, very clear to Gene. He's like, you know what? I'm giving you a second chance, and you're going to enjoy all of the opportunities that come with it. If you don't, then I'm straight up going to kill your grandson and your son. And I'm like, Barry, really? This episode ended up being very, very dark, and Bill Hader is going to get nominated again, as far as my opinion goes. And as the episode is coming to an end, this is where Barry looks at Gene, and he's like, I love you, Mr. Kuzno. Again, similar to the conversation they had earlier, and Gene is like, I love you too, Barry. And Barry's expression, he's like, can you say that again? And the episode ends, and I'm like, oh. I think that this show is going to dive deeper into Barry's childhood, especially because of his need to be loved, especially by parental figures like Fuchs and Gene. So that's something that I'm interested in watching. And yeah, let me know what you thought of Barry season number 3, episode number 2 down in the comment section below. I am looking forward to to episode number 3. This was one of the best Barry episodes yet. So yeah, let me know, and until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.